Morning, guys. Morning, everybody. Welcome in. Can you guys hear me? Mic check, 1, 2. Audio, how's the audio? Audio's good. No technical issues this morning. We got Bloomberg in the back. We got no Saratoga today. No Saratoga. This is not Saratoga, but we are still locked in. Welcome in, everybody. Hope everyone's having a nice Monday morning. Had a nice weekend. We have a lot to go over today. A lot of new things to discuss, a lot of new levels to discuss. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Let's give it a second. We're going to dive right in. Boom. Look at that. Look how seamless we are now. We are like experts at this. We're becoming experts at this. Big stuff to talk about today's session. We are going to dive into a major economic week FOMC meeting. This is no walk in the park for traders. This is going to be an exciting week. It's going to be one of lots of happiness and lots of sadness, I'm sure, because this week is going to be a very, very jam-packed session. We also have major earnings this week as well. In this week, we have a lot of big guys. Mostly small cap names though, right? Like Palantir and HIMS and stuff like that. But we'll talk about it. We'll go over everything. So that's what's in the docket for today, guys. We're going to talk about what's going on here on the charts. We'll talk about some major technical levels. We'll talk about SPY. We'll go over SPY. We're going to talk about the major demand below here. They're opening up right into. It's 562 on the S&P. We're going to talk about the ES level. And this, in my opinion, I put a lot of emphasis. I go back and forth between emphasizing SPY and emphasizing ES. And today's session, I think the most clear levels are actually on the ES chart. And we're going to talk a lot about the ES chart. Big levels here that all make sense to me. And I think it'll make sense to you guys as well. We'll go over the Qs chart. We're going to talk about the QQQ levels. Qs 485, 492, and 475 demand below. We're going to talk about Nvidia, the talk of the street. Nvidia was a shit stock on Friday's session, but we actually got a good read on it. Longed it just too early in the session yesterday, or on Friday's session, but ended up getting the right idea back into demand and cut the upside back into highs. Was not an easy session on Friday, but managed to survive, and that's all you can do on these Friday sessions. If you don't get the initial move right on 0 days, you're a dead fish at the fish market, right? And you do not want to be a dead fish at the fish market on a Friday in 0DD contracts. And that was me for 2 hours on Friday. Hopefully it doesn't happen to you guys this Friday, right? Just got to understand, right? You got to jump to those next week contracts. If you have the idea right, you probably will make money. But even with 0 day contracts, you can have that idea right. But if your timing is ever so slightly off, right, in this case, kind of pretty big off. But if your timing is off, you will lose a lot of money on those 0 day contracts. And the next weeks are going to be your saving grace. So we'll talk about AMD today as well. We'll go over AMD, the levels on AMD, 100 on AMD, 98 in AMD. We'll go over Tesla. Tesla, in my opinion, look at the chart here. I think we should just show the Tesla chart today, and we don't even have to say anything on Tesla. We're just going to show Tesla, and we're going to say, you do what you want, right? Because look how clear the Tesla chart is right now. This, to me, I think everybody knows what I'm going to say here, right? This should be something that everyone sees. We'll talk about it though. Of course, I'm not just going to show the chart, but we'll go over the levels and we'll discuss what's going on here in Tesla's chart. We're also going to go over Netflix. Netflix news this morning. News this morning on Netflix. What is the news? News that the tariffs are going to start impacting not only products that are shipped into the United States, which we're aware of that stuff, but now it's going to impact movies and shows that are filmed outside of the USA. That is a very big flip, and that's an interesting reaction we're seeing here on the Netflix chart. Pretty aggressive gap down, but where are we gapping down into, right? Where are we gapping down into? 1065 here on Netflix is going to be a very important pivot that we're going to talk about today's session. So welcome in, everybody. I hope everybody is well rested and is ready to dive into the charts. We're going to dive into it. If you guys are ready, I'm ready. Let's go. So on the earnings docket for this week ahead of us, The week ahead of us is all around these small cap names. We have Palantir reporting earnings in the after hour session today. Palantir, HIMS, Ford. HIMS has been a very aggressive mover recently. I know many of you guys trade HIMS as well, so be careful of HIMS reporting earnings in the after hour session. Palantir, of course, we always go over Palantir. Palantir has become a routine name we watch in the pre-market sessions. And of course, it's reporting earnings here in the after hours. Be careful of Palantir today. Let's see what happens post earnings. Tuesday session, you have more chip names. You have SMCI, you have AMD, and you have Rivian, an EV name. Rivian is going to impact Tesla. Okay, just be aware of that. Rivian will have an impact on Tesla into that close because, again, everything that is EV will have an impact on Tesla. So even though this is not Tesla, this is Rivian, it will have some EV effect. AMD, of course, SMCI, of course, those are the big dogs on Tuesday. The big dogs on Wednesday, Disney, Novo, NVO. I am in a boatload of Novo shares. I hope this goes up. I don't want to say anything. We're going to move on and pretend we didn't see that. But NVO coming in on Wednesday pre-market, Disney pre-market, Uber pre-market. Thursday, Piton, Shopify, Trade Desk, TTD, Coinbase on Thursday after our session as well, and Mercado Libre. Mercado Libre and Meli, M-E-L-E. Interesting. Why is Meli interesting? Meli is the Amazon of the South America, right? Meli, right? M-E-L, Meli stock, right? Just want to confirm this. I don't want to say stupid stuff here, but yeah, Mercado Libre is basically the Amazon of South America. It's an Argentinian company, but this will have an impact on the overall market, of course, but it's also going to have an impact on Amazon. So a lot of these names will sort of have other impacts on the overall sector, and I think that's what's important this week is understanding that going into our session. Okay. On the economic data side, it all comes down to Wednesday session. Wednesday session is big. Wednesday session is the FOMC announcement. Okay, this is not your routine data. This is your once a month data where the market is going to be anticipating either a rate cut or a no change in rate. But more importantly, they're going to be looking forward to see what is the expectations for June. A lot of the market now is anticipating either a May cut, but now even more so a June cut. A June cut is more likely than a May cut. And so the market's 50-50. I have to look at the actual numbers and see what the futures are pricing in. I believe that they're not pricing in a rate cut anymore for May, and they're pricing in a rate cut only for June. So that was a switch because before there was a rate cut predicted in May, and now the futures are not indicating that. So we'll take a look at that on Tuesday in the pre-market session. We'll talk about that Tuesday, but just keep an eye on that going into our session ahead of us. Guys, let's dive into our charts. Let's go into it. We have 900 people here. We have 900 people here in the pre-market session, and we have, how many likes do we have? It says we have 3 likes on my end. It says we have 3 likes over here. No, 200 likes. 900 people and 200 likes. Let's get the like count up. Let's get the sub count up, guys. If you guys are not sub, I'll see you guys in the subscriber count. That'd be great. Like, and let's move on. So let's talk about it. SPY's chart. So on SPY, this is what we're watching in SPY. If we go to the 5-minute chart, I want to talk a little bit about what happened on Friday session. On Friday session, we pretty aggressively saw strength in the pre-market, right? We pulled back down. We formed a low here on Friday at that 562 area. 562 has become an important level in SPY. You can see the Thursday pre-market high, the level on Thursday before the aggressive flush after Amazon, Apple earnings. 562 was that inflection point. We gapped down obviously into close on Thursday. We gapped up on Friday. And on Friday, the first and real big pullback in the market was held up by 562. And the pre-market session, we are seeing a maintenance of 562. So what is our level today? It's simply 562. We are gapping down the pre-market session, but this gap down is meaningless to us. It's meaningless to us until we get back under 562. If we can get back under 562, I would expect a trend down and a gap to fill back into this 557.50 and back into 555 here in SPY. If you're trading SPY today, what you should be focusing on is watching to see how we respond to 562. If we can maintain here, we're back bullish, back into supply. If we lose it, then look for short side plays and a trend move down lower. I would say though that if you guys have seen anything about the market, even when we have a gap up in the market, we do tend to see those pullbacks come in. If this is a bearish gap, if this is a bearish gap down, which of course it is still definitely bearish, obviously every gap down is bearish, but I would say this: if you are looking for shorts today, your main watch should be a 566 pop and fade. That's really what you should be focusing on today for shorts, or shorts there. Shorts would work in these two areas, in my opinion. Here's the problem though. If we do get back above 566, this would be a bullish break and retest, and I think we squeeze higher back into the 570s. So how I would trade today's session is I would do exactly this. I would not be short here in the 562. I would look for shorts here if that happens on a trend-based entry. I would look to see if we can pop higher today. I would look to see how are we going to respond to this 566. Are we going to break above 566? If we do break above 566, look for something like this. You see how this happens, right? Look what happened here for a second, right? If you guys recall from our Friday pre-market session, we said, hey, guys, don't be long back into the supply, right? And this was a rejection point on Friday's session. In fact, it actually was a good area to scalp for puts on Friday's session. We saw us pop higher, and the puts worked on Friday's session, right? They did work on Friday's session. But eventually, we got above that same high, and we ripped higher and set up a long-based entry. We had a short-based entry off the morning and a long-based entry off in the afternoon. Today's session, I don't think is much different, right? If the market just rips higher back to 566, you probably will get some short-term short opportunities off the supply zone for a failure move down. Am I saying we're going to go all the way to 500 on SPY? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in the short term, look for some reactions here at 566. If we do get above the 566, that's where longs trigger, and you can look for a move back into 570, back into our Friday's highs. That would be the most bull case scenario here if we do get above the 566 level. So again, the levels this morning on SPY are pretty damn simple, right? 566, 562, 570. If we get back under 562, in my opinion, we move back into 555. If you have any degree of not clarity, this is a bad way of saying this. If there's any uncertainty about SPY, right, I want you to take a second and look at the ES chart, because the ES chart, in my opinion, gives us some more clarity here. Look how clear this ES chart is, guys. First of all, the 566 on SPY that we just spoke about, right, the same 566 level, right here on SPY, 566, right, is simply 5700 ES. If you are trading SPY today, you are watching 5700 ES's chart. That's all you're doing. If we can trend higher back into resistance today, you're looking for short-term failures there. If we fail back below 562 SPY, which is the equivalent of 565 or 56.55 here in ES's chart, which is our pre-market low, we move back into 555 on SPY, which is 5600 ES. I know this is a lot of numbers here, but again, this is what it is, right? It is simply 5700 ES, big resistance, 5600 ES, big demand below. That's why, in my opinion, ES's chart is more clear. You can see here, 566 SPY, 555 demand below. If you want to correlate something for a second, right, the 555 demand on SPY is the equivalent of that 5600 ES level. So that's what we have ahead of us today's session. If your pivot though is simply right here. If we are above this level, upside back into 566. If we're below this level, downside back into 5600 ES. That's what we have on the docket for today's session here on the ES chart. Does this make sense? Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? Put a yes if you guys understand what I'm saying. You can put a no if you don't. I won't be upset, but put a yes if you understand what I'm saying here. Again, big level here, 566 or 562. Then you have your supply and your demand down below. Okay, let's move on, guys. I think I'm seeing some yeses. We are seeing some yeses, and people are saying they're locked in, so we're good. Okay, let's move on. On the Qs, sometimes I will say stuff that I think makes sense in my head, and it sounds like it makes sense, but then I realize, wow, that probably does not make sense. So just if I say something doesn't make sense, you guys have to let me know. Right. 485 QQQ, that's the pivot today's session. In my opinion, this is the equivalent of that SPY 562, but we are actually below it on the Qs, which I don't like. I mean, this is interesting, right? If you want to look at this for a second, you see how on the Qs we have that whipsaw move up, right? We said it move down and whipsaw up, right? And you have the little highs here from that Thursday session. And you go back to SPY for a second. On SPY's chart, that little whipsaw up, right? And the highs of that Thursday session, little breakout high level, right? Thursday session, breakout high, and the whipsaw level here in Friday session. We are above it right now on SPY's chart, right? We're clearly above it, or still maintaining above that zone here at 562, right? But on the QQQ chart, hey, we're actually well below it. And on the Qs, you're seeing what? You're seeing us break down under 545, and you're seeing us retest that 45 for a potential downside move. So who's right here? Is it the QQQ that's right, and we're going to see a downside move back into 475, or is it SPY that's right, and SPY is maintaining above our demand, and we can look for upside today? Who is right here? In my opinion, we don't know who is right. We are simply going to respect our levels, and we're going to do what? We're going to be data collectors today. On Monday's session, we are data collectors. That is all we are. We are not even traders yet. We are just collecting data until we can determine what the trade is. If you were to tell me, Brett, let's go long short, I wouldn't know what to do because I know where Qs are below our level, but SPY is well above our level. So we must see if this loses 562, we should see downside, and the Qs will obviously follow. That's what we're looking for today's sessions. We're going to see, hey, does the QQQ maintain under 45 today, or do we get above and see a reclaim and upside play? If this happens, we see downside back into 475, really back into the Friday's session low, which is 479 of session low on Friday. Or if we get above this level, then we're going right back into 492. So again, that's what I'm expecting today's session. You have obviously our 45 level, below 45, downside back in 479, or above 45, back into 492. That's what I'm watching today's session here on the Qs. Okay, and we just don't know what's right yet until we get more data. Right? Let's move on. Let's talk about the first ticker of the day. Let's talk about Tesla. In my opinion, Tesla has one of the most clear hourly charts. You can see here on the hourly time frame, Tesla is still bullish, right? By every regard, Tesla is still bullish, but we are in some big supply here. You can see we have 1,500 people here this morning. Wow, where'd you guys all come from? 1,500 people. People are here. People are showing up today. That's a lot of people here, guys. I think that's a record. I think it's the most amount of people we've ever had. That is awesome. Welcome in, guys. So 293 level on Tesla. You can see 293, 293, 293, 293. The level to watch this morning is simply 293. If we can get above 293, we're going to see possibly the best break and retest alongside entry. This is my absolute favorite break and retest trade on the week so far, is this 293 level. The problem still, though, is we cannot go long. Someone said, where'd you all come from? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're all bots or something. I don't know. There's too many people here, right? Above 293, we should see upside. And the reason why I'm saying that is because right now we are still structuring higher. This chart is still just a bullish consolidation, right? You can see we have a low here, a higher low here, a higher low here, a higher low here. And in my opinion, as long as we're holding above 280, right? As long as we're holding above 280, we're actually bullish. And I don't really consider this to be the most critical levels here, but I would say this. If you're going to trade Tesla today, you're doing this. Your main focus is let's look for a break and hold above 293 for longs. If that happens, nail that for long entry. If the market does pull back today, you're no longer looking for those same 280 bounces or 272 bounces anymore. You're looking to see that if this happens, if we do somehow lose this level under 272, under 280 first, of course, but under 272 more importantly, then this completely shifts. The supply rejection is most likely the case, and we can look for a fade, move back into 245. So the way I'm trading Tesla today in this week ahead of us is I'm simply doing this. I'm saying this is the channel right in front of us. We can see it right in front of us. The channel is between here and here to here, and we can extend it all the way over to the price action we're seeing right now. We have big demand here below here at 273. We have big supply above us at 293. It's a 20-point range here. If we can break above either side of this channel range, highs or lows, we can look for a downside and a continuation play. So if you're trading Tesla, look for short side trades long side trades above 293, or look for the short side plays under 273. If you want to be an absolute maniac, go to the 15-minute time frame, and I can see something here as well. There is a short that's sooner than 273. You can see here there is obviously 280. This is something I want you guys to be aware of, because I don't want to just be all ultra conservative and show you guys the super conservative levels. I want to show you guys a little bit a flip here that we could see potentially turn into a nice trade today as well. You can see in the 15-minute time frame here on Tesla, there is obviously a pivot here, 280, 280, 280, 280, 280, 280, 280. If you're going to short this, be smart about this short. I don't want you guys to come in today's session and look for shorts under 280 and then just maintain this all the way to 272 all the way to 272 and start holding for lower, because again, this is still a demand that we might hold. If the market holds here, you can see obviously whipsaw. So if you're going to short under 280 today, you're looking for a very simple short back under 280 and a play back into 272. That's all we're looking for today's session. Under 280 for puts back at 272, but that's the demand below. Under 272, you can look for shorts all the way back into 245. That, in my opinion, is the best short side play today. Okay, and above 290.23 for calls, that's that Friday's highs. You want to see it clear above Friday's highs. If it does, that's your long side trade. So again, long side trade above highs, and short side trade below 280 or below 273. Right? Let's move on, guys. Let's go on to the next ticker today. Let's talk about Apple. On the Apple chart. Apple chart, in my opinion, is all bearish. We kind of spoke a little bit about this on Friday's session. We spoke about the 207.50 to 207 level resistance. This is still the big level today. If we can look for a pop and fade 207, I would watch that for shorts. 207 pop and fade, right? This would look like this today. A pop to 207 and a fade play here. Or you could also look for the breakdown under 202 for puts. Under 202 for puts, you can look for a downside move back lower into the 190s. What I would expect here on Apple, right, is we must analyze this from a structure standpoint. Like, what's the trend here on Apple, right? You can see there is obviously bullish structure previous, right? You can see the previous structure is bullish. We then lost that little bullish structure and we're entering now a new bearish structure. We can see we're forming these lower highs. In my opinion, we are still forming lower highs as long as we're under 207. So you can look for, again, that 207 pop and fade, or you can look for that breakdown under 202, which is our Friday's lows. And if we lose our Friday's lows, we go back down into here first, 198.50, which again is that Tuesday level and that Thursday level. But then below 198.50, we go back into 190. So an interesting chart here to watch. We can keep an eye on this Apple chart today and see what it does here under that 202 level. Okay, let's move on, guys. Fancy, yes, absolutely. We're going to go over Netflix. In fact, we're doing Netflix right now. Thank you so much, Fancy. It's very kind of you. Fancy is probably my biggest supporter. Thank you. Fancy is absolutely awesome. So 1 hour time frame here on Netflix. Netflix has obviously news impacting it, right? What is the news for people who are just joining in? The news on Netflix is that we are seeing a tariff on shows and movies produced outside the United States. And for this reason, we are seeing obviously the Netflix move down. And we knew Netflix was going to pull down eventually, right? Sometimes it takes news for the stock to fail down lower. And I do think that this likely fails back in 1065, 1064. If this can pull back to 1064 here on Netflix today, that's your long opportunity, right? I know we have some negative impacting stuff, some headwinds on Netflix right now, and obviously it does look bearish, right? By every regard, the news is still bearish, but the chart is still fully bullish. And your only long opportunity, I think, is right here. If we can sell off into 1064, 1065 on Netflix today, that's your long opportunity. If we fail back under this level, do not long this. It probably goes back in 1,000. That's the next big level here in Netflix. So if we lose 1,000, if we lose 1065, 1064, we go back into 1,000. We cover that downside move. If the market just trends back lower into here and you see confirmation approach here as we're tapping this demand below, look for longs here. That's probably your best long side spot. This still is your best long side spot. I would even argue it's not just 1064, it's all the way from 1064, and let's zoom in for a second, right? It's all the way from 1064 till here, 1064 until this 1055 or 1056. So if you're gonna go long on Netflix today, you're looking for this. You're looking for us to continue selling off into demand here, a little bit of some sharp selling, and a reversion play here off this demand. Obviously, if you lose that 1055, 1056, then we go back lower into 1,000. So if you're going to short, your only short is back under this. I don't even want to short here, to be honest with you. There's no short I'm watching here on Netflix, only watching longs back at demand. Okay, let's move on, guys. Let's go over the next chart of the day. Let's go over semis. Let's talk about Nvidia first. Nvidia. Joshua Garrison, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Absolutely. I will go over Meta. I would have gone over Meta anyway, but I appreciate it. You were very, very kind. Thank you for supporting in B-Cross. NQ, I was not going to go over NQ, but I can absolutely do that for you as well. We'll go over NQ and we'll talk about it. So Thank you guys all for supporting. Remember, you guys don't have to do this. That's very kind. My camera is good now, so I think it's good, but we'll find out. Nvidia. On the Nvidia chart, what we're watching on Nvidia is the same thing we should have been watching on Friday session. What did we say on Friday? On Friday session, we talked about two levels. We talked about the 115 level of supply, and we talked about the 113.50 level demand. We longed above. We longed into supply. We longed into supply, and that trade obviously failed under 114, and then we longed back in demand, and that trade worked. So I mean, you want to talk about good trades and bad trades, and I want to sit here and tell you guys that sometimes we also take some pretty bad trades, and I look at this, and 99% of the trades I take are good trades, and 99% of the trades I take are even 99% of the trades that are losses are also good trades. But sometimes you take a trade and you look at it, you're like, wow, why didn't I just wait here for this demand below? This was the right level, and that was the level that actually worked yesterday or Friday session. And fortunately, we did catch this trade, which was nice. But the 115 supply is still very much so supply. You can see, look how clear this level is. You have a level here, you have a level here, you have a level here. Do not go long into 115, right? This is the level. It's simple today, guys. 115 is the level. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell us there is resistance here at 115. If you're going to go long today on Nvidia today's session, what you're going to look for is you're still looking for this. You're looking to see if we can get above 115. Above 115, above 115, above 115, above 115, right? If we can clear above this level right here, a little break and retest play, we can look for longs back into this 120, 120, and probably even 119. So this whole area over here is the next big level of supply, which I'll draw it in so we have it marked out properly. If we do get above that 115, we should move higher back into 119.50 into 120 as the next big level of technical resistance, and I'll have that marked out as our take profit. So again, that's what we're looking for today on this Nvidia chart. What else besides that, though? Is there anything besides that I'd watch out for? 113.50, I'm no longer interested in. It's not really important to me anymore. The next level I have here on Nvidia is probably going to be somewhere between 112, this 112 and 110. You can see we have demand below between 112 and 110. If you're going to go long on Nvidia, you're probably looking for either this. You're looking obviously for the first scenario, which was that break and retest above 115. But you're also looking to see if we can maintain this demand here between 112 and 110. If we can, that could be another long side trade today. If we lose 110, this goes lower back into 103, 104. So if you're going to short, that's your short. If you're going to long, those are your long side trades. Okay, let's move on, guys. Let's go over AMD. On the AMD chart, what's going on here in AMD? AMD maintaining trend. I don't know. I mean, this chart to me always looks flimsy. I always look at this chart and I look for reasons to go short on this chart. But it is still maintaining trend. It's maintaining structure. If this can break above 100, right? If this can break above 100, above our Friday's highs, you can look for a traditional break and retest here, above 100, upside trade back in 102. That could be a potential play today. If we get weak on the market, if we get weak this week, if this market flips weak, let's just say, for example, SPY loses 562 and we start breaking down, then look for AMD shorts under 96. 96 is your short spot here in AMD. If we can break under 96, actually I'll keep that red so we know it's a short spot. Under 96, we can look for shorts back down into 74. So under 96 for shorts or above 100 for long side trades. If you're trading it, again, just like this, above 100, long side back in 102, or below 96, short side back in 94. Those are the big levels to watch here on this AMD chart. Okay, guys, let's move on. Let's go over SMH. On the SMH is still very much so bullish. And I think it's important to recognize that, right? Look at the SMH here, guys. I mean, this to me is still interesting. That's why, even though Nvidia was a battle for me on Friday session, I still like the semiconductor strength. Look how clear the semiconductor ETF is doing, or you can see obviously breaking and retesting above 205, above the trend line. It's in a little bit of some resistance right now, some supply though. As you can see, the supply is between 218 and 220, right? You can see what I'm talking about. If I just zoom in here, you see on the 4-hour time frame, right? Look at the supply. You can see 220 to 218. This whole zone over here is a problem area, and that may be what needs to happen next for semiconductor strength to build. If you want to see semiconductor strength to build, you probably want to see the SMH above 220. So if this pulls back, look for longs back at 205. If it breaks and holds above 220, that's your next long side trigger back into highs. And again, you're targeting a move back into these highs now, not 246, but these highs, 232, as your next big level of resistance here on the SMH. So again, here, not there. This is a level 2, obviously, but the next supply is 232, 233. Okay, let's move on, guys. I want to make sure it's charted there, 232. Okay, and I want to go over the next ticker of the day. I want to go over Meta. Black America, thank you so much, man. Much appreciated, Black America. You are awesome. Thank you, guys. Again, I hope this is coming out of profits. You don't have to do this, but it's very kind of you. I'm going to go over NQ. I'll go over CL for you guys just so we have it on the docket for today. So I'm going to get some water. I feel like I'm losing my voice this morning. I think I'm yelling today. I feel like I'm yelling today more than usual. I don't know why. We have so many people here in this pre-market. We have 1,600 people now. It's like going up and down like crazy. I think there's like something wrong with YouTube today. It's probably not even real. Let's move on. So Meta, Meta's chart. On the Meta chart, we have two different shelves I'm watching here in Meta. On the Meta chart, this is the level I'd watch out for, right? You have a shelf. You have a shelf one over here. You have a shelf one over here. You have a shelf two over here. If you want my honest answer right now, my honest answer is I'll be transparent with you guys always. I have no clue what's going to happen here in Meta, right? I have a shelf here. This could be a long opportunity at 580. The secondary shelf is here at 555. I think that's the higher conviction long spot. If I were a betting man, I would put my money on 555, right? I would look for the 555 level as my long spot. I see 580 as well as a shelf. You can see 580, 580, right? You can see it, right? I'll just make sure everyone can kind of understand what I'm saying here. You see 580, 580, 580, a series of highs here, 580 and 580, 580, okay? 580 is the clear level, right? But under 580, we have an even more clear level here, right before that triple top consolidation at 555, 557. I would be focused more so on these triple top highs. That to me is the best long spot. The secondary long spot though is 580. So if you're looking for trades today in Meta, you're probably doing this. You're probably looking to see, can this pull back today? 580, long opportunity, or can it secondary pull back here now to 558, to really 558 actually. Sorry, not even 555, 558 to 555. This whole $3 zone is what I'd watch here for a long spot. That's my more higher conviction zone on the Meta chart. Okay. Let's move on. Let's go to the next ticker of the day. Let's go over NQ. So NQ, I never go over NQ. So you're going to have to bear with me for a second. But there's going to be some interesting things here in NQ because it's kind of similar to that Q's chart, right? On the NQ, you can see here, we do obviously have a level to watch out for at this 20,500. That's the big level, 20,500. Then below that, you have our level here, which is around this 19,765 here on the NQ chart, and you can see what's forming here on the QQQ is actually interesting, right? Because this looks more bullish to me than the Qs do, right? The Qs look, you can see it though. It's the same area, right? That same 19,965 is the same as 468 QQQ. And back to NQ for a second. So that's really the level to watch out for this week is, are we above 19,655, right? 19,655 is a level to watch. If we're above it, longs back into 20,050. In the short term though, in the 15 minute, you can see here, we do have an inflection point here around this 20,030. That's the next level to watch out for, 20,030 as your level. And that, in my opinion, is the same level as that QQQ that we spoke about, right? That same level in Qs is 20,030 NQ. So if we're above this level, upside. If we're below this level, downside back into 19.7, 19.6. Okay. Let's move on, guys. Let's go over CL. CL, crude futures. We're going over futures today. We're futures traders today. So no, this is not the right ticker. What are we doing over here? CL. CL. On the CL, crude oil futures, or CL. You gotta tell me which one. I don't know if you want to go with Colgate or crude oil. You gotta let me know which one. Let me know which one to go over, and I'll go back to this. We'll jump back into this in a second. I don't want to go over the wrong one. Let's move on, guys. Let's go Cigna CL, but it's not here. I don't think I see Cigna here. I'm not sure if that's the right one. What's the ticker for Cigna? I don't see a ticker for this one. I'm not sure what it is. Crude oil. Yeah, I don't know if it's. Well, we'll go back. We'll go back to it. Let's go over to Microsoft first. Microsoft. Microsoft chart. You're still watching 420, right? You're watching 420. That's your level. Look to see if we can sort of pull back long here. 420. This is obviously a nice upside play. Look for alongside trades here. 420. Right? 420. 420. 420. 420. Watch 420. Okay. We're moving on. CL crude oil. That's what it's saying. Crude oil. So let's do crude oil. CL crude oil. On the crude oil chart, you can see obviously a double bottom forming here on 55. That's your level on the hourly, on the daily. I mean, this is your level. I mean, this is the level of levels. You don't want to be short back into this level. That's it, right? This is it right in front of us. It's simply just that 55 all the way down to 53. Do not be short here, right? This could be a potential long-term trade here off the 53 to 55 level demand. Do not be short here, especially because you're seeing it. You're seeing it do what? You're seeing a gap down, but a perfect gap down in the demand here. So be careful going short here. I would not be short. In fact, I'd be looking for long side trades back into demand here, right? Let's move on. Oh, CI? Oh, CI. That's what it is, guys. CI. Okay. Cigna Group with an I. Let's move on. Let's go over this chart. So on this chart, you can see here 4-hour time frame. I'll be honest with you. This looks horrible, right? I can't really do much here, right? I can't make any magic happen here. I see level 270. That's your mega level, right? You can see here 270 highs, lows. Then you have supply coming in around this 364. That's all I see here. I see a massive channel low, a massive channel high here. If I were trading this, I would be looking for longs back at demand, right? Then I'd be looking for shorts back at these highs over here. That's all I would do, right? That's all I'll be doing on this on the Cigna Group chart here, CI chart. Guys, let's move on. It's 9:07. I'm going to end it here. Thank you all for joining in. We had, I think, the most amount of people we've ever had this morning, which is awesome to see you guys all here this Monday session. I'll see you all for live trading. Trade safe, trade smart. Remember, today is about data collecting. Collect your data. Don't be your 9:32 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm all in the trade. That's it. I'm all full ported, 0 to EN SPY. Don't do it, right? Take your time. Wait the first 10, 15 minutes if you have to, right? Get some data under your belt so you can get a good read and then execute that trade. Right, guys, I'll see you all later. Bye, everybody.